Alright, so continuing on, we see that we have two shadows on the screen. I'll call it the green shadow comes from the light at the bottom of the flashlight, and the red shadow comes from the light from the top of the flashlight. And on the screen they overlap, alright? But there's a spot in the middle right here where they both overlap, right here. So that is where the green and the red shadows overlap, and it's called the umbra. Because it's a spot where both shadows overlap, it is the completely dark section of the shadow. The umbra is the completely dark section of the shadow. Now, there's two spots, one on top where there is no overlap, and one on the bottom where there is no overlap. Those two sections are called penumbras. So that's a penumbra and a penumbra. And in those sections there is some shadow, but like the top section there's a shadow from the bottom of the light. But for that top penumbra there's no shadow from the red rays which come from the top of the light. So the penumbra has some shadow in it and some not shadow. So the penumbra is a gray or fuzzy section. The penumbra is what we see as the fuzzy section of the shadow, and we say that around the edges, and that's why the penumbras are on the outside, the top and the bottom of this diagram. Okay? There you go. So two things you need to know, penumbra and umbra. I want you to draw one more shadow diagram. Here we go. Draw another flashlight, another object, and another screen. Again, make the person's head level with the top of the flashlight and the person's feet level with the bottom of the flashlight. Use these lines on your paper to do that. Okay, so the difference in this diagram, I want to say the object, label this that the object is closer to the light. Do you remember what happens to the fuzzy parts when the object gets closer to the light? What's that you say? You think it gets fuzzier now that it's closer to the light? Alright, we'll see. Right now the person's right smack dab in the middle between the screen and the light. So let's see, if it gets fuzzier like we thought. Alright? Same process. You need 4 rays. The red ones I'm going to draw coming from the top of the light. You don't need to choose red, choose any color. Skim the head coming from the top of the light. Straight line skims the head. Something you will be graded on. Is it a straight line? When you draw your shadow diagrams. Straight line, skim the head. Same color, straight line, skim the feet. If you accidentally draw it through the toe of the person, what I did is I just erased their toe. I said they have 4 toes now. Alright, but see, neither of these lines go through the person's body. Make sure, don't draw the lines through their body, okay? You skim the head and you skim the top of the head and the bottom of the feet. Now 2 more rays, but these come from the bottom of the flashlight. Let's see if we get a fuzzier shadow after we draw these rays. Okay, skim the head. Nice, skim the head. And skim the feet. Make them a little shorter. Touch the top of their head and one line touching the bottom of their feet. So do you think it's fuzzier, and how could you tell? Well, the way to tell if it's fuzzier is to look at the penumbra over here. This is the penumbra, and this is the penumbra. Now that they're closer to the light, what happened to the size of the penumbra? I agree, yeah, it got larger. So a larger penumbra, remember the penumbra is the fuzzy part, so a larger penumbra means a fuzzier shadow, because, now I'd like you to write your own reasoning. Use the definition of penumbra that you just wrote down before. Why does a larger penumbra mean a fuzzier shadow? So these are larger. We're saying these are larger, so it's a fuzzier shadow when you're closer. So closer is fuzzier. But why? It all lies in the definition of penumbra. The penumbra is the fuzzy part, so a larger, fuzzier part would mean a fuzzier shadow. So please write down now your reasoning section. You're saying it is fuzzier. This is your evidence. In your reasoning, use the definition of penumbra. A larger penumbra means a larger, fuzzier part, means a fuzzier shadow. All right? Great job, guys.